One of the biggest videos we've ever covered on this channel was about Indiana Jones going away from the Disney streaming services. Well, now he's back, but not in its entirety. We're going to talk about the rights issues and how Disney doesn't actually own the rights to what they view as one of their franchises, and which part of the Indiana Jones franchise did not make it back to Disney Plus here on That Park Place. But speaking of a company that wants to feel better about themselves, it looks like Disney has quietly revived the Steven Spielberg Indiana Jones blockbusters after shocking disappearance. This was to me and Vash, the biggest video ever on That Park Place was us talking about this series of movies, no matter how many of them you think there are, Disney Plus. All of them gone, including the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. Now, there is a reason that they disappeared from Disney Plus. Culture, do you wanna take us through why that might be?
Oh no, I will let you do it because I want the definitive answers and not my speculative ones.
Vash?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're kind of in the realm of speculation just a little bit because it's interesting. I was reading some forums about this particular issue, and it's very strange because obviously they get taken off of Disney Plus around October, right? And then a little bit later on, they get placed on platforms like Paramount Plus, and I believe even as recently as a couple of weeks ago, they were placed on Amazon Prime, which people had gotten access to, and they had, put it in their libraries for watching later. And then when this announcement was made, well, people were pretty perturbed that they couldn't actually watch the films that they had set aside on Amazon Prime. So there seems to be some rights issues in terms of where these are landing. The big speculation as to why they may have returned to a platform like Disney Plus is because of maybe perhaps the success, the surprise success of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Yeah, that's a very good point as to why they would want them there. And this is to be 100% clear here. Disney did not own the full rights to Star Wars, as in Star Wars 1977, otherwise known as A New Hope, until they bought Lucasfilm. Until they bought Fox in 2019. So they bought Lucasfilm in 2012, and they still had to get licensing deals. If they had wanted to put Star Wars from 1977 onto their platform, which they still haven't done because it's the 20th revision or whatever out there, they had to make a deal with Fox. So they were unable to do a digital version of Star Wars here. So you could buy Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi and any of the other ones online without talking to Fox. And of course, all of the Disney Star Wars films, those are fully owned by the Disney company, but they didn't have the digital rights to Star Wars. So you couldn't do a complete collection here. I'm not exactly sure if that ended up affecting like box art or things like that. So a complete box set of all of the films together, like this garbage 4K one I've got back here that has the blemish on it, the Skywalker Saga collection from Best Buy, that was a travesty. One of the last things that I bought before I kind of stopped spending money on Disney stuff. That could not have happened until after Disney bought Fox. In that similar way, Paramount owns the rights to all but one Indiana Jones film here. So this is something that I think is hilarious, that Disney has to go beg Paramount, who needs money right now, but could also license these things on other platforms at the moment. They have to ask Paramount for permission to put Indiana Jones on here. And I bet that bugs Disney. That bugs Bob Iger to no end, that he has to ask someone else's permission before he can put what he wants to be viewed as one of his IP items on his platform. Guys, have any thoughts on that? Because there's one more detail.
Why Bob Iger might be particularly perturbed about that arrangement is because, well, it was all set up by his predecessor, Michael Eisner. Go ahead, Culture.
Well, no, I mean, you got part of the answer I was going to give, but I was also going to say, and it really bothers Bob that they don't control or didn't control the video game rights to this particular franchise, even though they had acquired Lucasfilm, because it had already been sold off to Bethesda. As a vehicle, they have a little influence into what can be done and how the franchise could be used, but they don't actually maintain the rights to control the video game properties, which is weird.
It's also fascinating. There is one thing missing from all of this, and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. By the way, I think the consensus I'm getting from people who actually played the game is that the game is better than would have been indicated by the marketing. In fact, we have an article on that.
We do, yeah, great article. Yeah, please read that. You need to read that. If you already cast judgment on the game like I did without playing it, don't do that, people. Sometimes you are led astray by that marketing. I oftentimes will not make an opinion unless I've seen something beginning to end or played something beginning to end. But in this case, I had already passed judgment. If you did that, apparently maybe that was premature because they were pumping it full of the messaging in the marketing.
Now, I will say there's another aspect here. I don't know that most parents would have issue with some of the things that are in the game, and I'm talking about violence here. So it's not completely free of what could be considered modern stuff here. But that being said, it's actually I don't think the game was made by people who are very focused on people's skin tones and ethnicities and their gender makeup and all of that stuff. So now I haven't played the game myself, so that's not a personal endorsement. That's me going off of the opinions of several people who I've seen play this game. The thing that is missing, though, of course, is the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. Those are 100% not available on the Disney platform, even though I think back in the day they might have aired on ABC.
I think so.
Now, they were back when everything was on Disney Plus. They were available then. At this moment, they are not available on any platform where you don't just have to buy them outright, like if you want to go to Amazon or iTunes or something like that. So you can get the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles there. But the thing that's funny to me is they put all of this on Disney Plus, and very early on in Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, there's an episode where Kevin McNally, who plays Gibbs in the Pirates of the Caribbean films, plays a guy who is in some country, probably it might be Afghanistan, and he wanders the city to in the way he goes through the city is he applies makeup to his face in order to make his skin appear darker. And he teaches Indiana Jones how to make his skin appear darker so that he can blend in among the Middle Eastern people there in the show. This was put on Disney Plus, I'm convinced, without any of the Stories Matter people knowing what was in that show, to have young Indiana Jones putting on brown face. So somehow that one didn't make it back in. I wonder if they finally paid attention to what they were doing there.
Well, all that does is just bleed back into our point that, these things were made in a time, they are held as classics for a reason, and they shouldn't be muddled with or censored just because it doesn't agree with some idiotic group's idea of modern sensibilities.
Yeah.
Because the beginning to end, the Young Indiana Jones is great.
Yeah, I agree. And we're hearing rumors that Disney is working on a Young Indiana Jones property, but of course, as all
guaranteeing it to be full of Stories Matter baloney sausage.
Oh yeah. When you have someone like Indiana Jones as a child listening, that was a big thing about he's surrounded by mentor characters there, so there's always someone to represent a viewpoint he's not really thinking of there. By the way, no, Young Indiana Jones is no longer on Disney Plus. I don't know where it is available online anywhere. I don't think it is available for purchase anywhere online. Mark Daly. No. I think no, we didn't read this one. Thank you for the second $5 super chat. While not dead, Star Wars is dying. KK won't do what needs to be done, and Disney won't do anything about KK. It's not dead, but it's in hospice. Completely correct. She's too well connected in Hollywood. Her husband is Frank Marshall, and she's friends with Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. And there are too many relationships that would be damaged on Bob Iger's part if he actually got rid of Kathleen Kennedy. She has to retire of her own free will. She wants to go out on a win, or sorry, to phrase it more closely to Film Thread, who is the source of this information. She would like it very much if she goes out on a win. And I don't know what that win could be. You could almost wish it was Skeleton Crew wasn't that bad. Bye-bye, Kathy, please. All right. Ronan Bunny for $4.99. One of the reasons I'm so excited for Zootopia 2 is because Short Round will play Gary the Snake. And that guy is a joy. I just love listening to Ke Huy Quan talk. He's a fun guy.
That was the sad thing about the recent Indiana Jones film that came out, Dial of Destiny. They didn't feature him. Why? It could have been, I mean, it could have been introduced in that film so easily. And yet passed up on that opportunity as well. You know, that's kind of endemic of both Star Wars and Indiana Jones. So many opportunities missed because, you know, bad creatives, really.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.